Welcome back, everyone. And now we are going to the agenda item 11, delivering a fit-for-purpose WHO Europe for country impact. Over the past 2 days, we have heard the importance that member states of our region place on the strong, agile, responsive WHO for the future. This session specifically focuses on the fit-for-purpose agenda in the WHO Regional Office for Europe. There are 2 segments under this agenda item. The first segment addresses the status of the fit-for-purpose change agenda and plans for the next biennium. The second segment focuses on the regional offices, country present, and work in countries review. So delegates are invited to intervene on each segment in turn, and pre-established speakers lists have been created for both segments. But keep in mind that we have these 2 different items here and substance here. The relevant documents for these agenda items are on the screen. First, a status of the fit-for-purpose integrated change agenda for WHO Europe and plans for the next biennium. Can I first invite the regional director to set the scene for this item with some introductory remarks? Dr. Kluge, you have the floor.
Thank you, Executive President. Excellencies, your intervention this week have underlined beyond any doubt the importance of our organization being fit for purpose to support the member states of our region. I am very proud that over the past 12 months, we have delivered the big building blocks of our WHO Europe transformation. And I was telling in the TED Talk, we have now finished the transformation. One of the things I learned is you have to start a transformation and you have to stop a transformation. Otherwise, it's not a transformation anymore. We have aligned the regional office to the EPW and the GPW 13, led by a new, dynamic senior management team, of which I am very, very proud, with a lot of emotional intelligence. Immediately when the restructuring process was completed, we initiated the country presence and work in countries review. But we are not waiting for the completion of the review to take action. As part of operational planning for the next biennium, we are already taking immediate steps to strengthen country office capabilities. At the same time, we have stepped up our support for health leadership in countries, including through the launch of the Pan-European Leadership Academy. Through an independent process from 117 applicants from the Western Balkan, the Central Asian countries and the Russian Federation as a first pilot, we selected 11 prospective young public health professionals who will join us for a year in Copenhagen country offices and the GDOs. As I said on Monday, I'm still ticking off my commitments to you in my brown campaign notebook. I'm checking every Sunday morning, and we're well ahead. It's good news. We have also driven digital transformation and leaner processes to support staff better and enhance country impact. On Monday, I also said that I have the best staff in the world, and I mean this. They and their families have given their all to the pandemic response and shown determination, commitment, and dedication to the countries, to the people we serve. And I want to say again and again how proud I am of their strength, resilience, patience, and hard work over this past year. 20 months into this pandemic, staff well-being must be a priority for all of us. Last year, we brought a staff counselor on board to work alongside our staff physician to support staff during these challenging times. And one of the first appointments I made last year was a full-time ombudsperson for Euro. This was one of my campaign commitments to the staff, a regional office with zero tolerance of harassment, including sexual harassment. Our work to build a psychological safe WHO Europe is underpinned by a whole-of-region training program in emotional intelligence, which is the #1 predictor of team performance in the 21st century, and something I believe is essential for all of us. And I'm one of the trainees, no primum inter pares. Our session today is also an accountability forum to report to the member states of our region on our efforts to transform our organization and in particularly our enabling functions. In future years, we will move to an integrated management report that provides a clear account of the work of enabling functions in line with Pillar 4 of our regional plan for implementation of the program budget 2022-2023. On Monday, I spoke about Kaizen. Kaizen means the art of continuous improvement involving all employees. As we move into the next biennium, we will continuously seek to enhance the effectiveness of our culture, processes, and structures. Ultimately, it's not about employee engagement. We do have engaged staff. It's about employee enablement. As one WHO, we will also continue to contribute to the overall WHO transformation and will ensure that the recommendations from current global processes are reflected in our regional fit-for-purpose efforts. Thank you, Madam Executive President.
Thank you. I would now like to invite the Executive Council to update us on the status of WHO's Europe's Fit-for-Purpose agenda and plans for the next biennium. I pass the floor to Ms. Gabriele Jacob, Special Advisor, Transformation and Organizational Development, Dr. Gundo Aurel Weiler, the Director, Division of Country Support and Emergencies, Mr. Rob Butler, Executive Director of the Office of the Regional Director, and Mr. David Allen, Director, Business Operations. Please, Ms. Jacob, you have the floor first.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear delegates, excellencies, last September when you adopted the EPW, you tasked us to deliver a WHO Regional Office for Europe for enhanced country impact and a fit-for-purpose WHO Europe aligned with core priorities. To deliver on this commitment, since last September, and despite the many challenges of the pandemic, we have moved at pace to implement an integrated change agenda, to align our structures, our resource allocation and our programming to deliver the EPW, to enhance our country focus across the WHO European region, to support a values-based culture of collaboration, including agile and multidisciplinary team-based models of working, to introduce leaner administrative procedures and processes and pursue digital transformation, and to ensure a healthy, respectful and motivational workplace for our workforce. Agility and innovation and responsiveness to changing country needs are our watchwords, and our work has taken into account key change drivers. As Dr. Kluge has said, we have built our work on a foundation of our WHO values, a commitment to psychological safety, and nurturing emotional intelligence at all levels of our organisation, starting at the top. Next slide, please. So, what have we delivered since RC70? As the Regional Director has already said, first and foremost, we have realigned the Regional Office to the EPW for country focus and impact. We have streamlined structures, reduced the number of senior management positions, and moved to a flatter organogram to support innovation. We hope that the technical agenda for this Regional Committee session demonstrates how the realignment of the Regional Office is already having an impact. Our new structures are enabling strengthened collaboration across technical programs and divisions, and have facilitated a new approach to preparing our regional plan for implementation of the next program budget, including in the key technical areas of mental health across the life course, primary health care and health workforce, and operationalising One Health. The restructuring process is also facilitating a step change in enabling functions, including communications, partnership, and resource mobilization. At the same time, we have worked hard to enhance country focus across the region, not least through the country presence and working countries review, which we will be talking about later during this session. The pandemic added an additional urgency to our objective to digitalize our business processes and embrace virtual tools and platforms for business continuity, for efficiency, and to leverage the potential of virtual platforms to connect us across our region. We've taken great strides in digitalization since 2020 and have also upskilled our workforce to work more effectively in a virtual world. Keeping the commitment to building a healthy, respectful and motivational workplace, new initiatives have included the RD's Open House initiative and the Towards a Healthy, Respectful Working Environment initiative led by our colleagues in Staff Health and Wellbeing Services. And we have placed a new and demonstrable emphasis on results-orientated staff development and learning to ensure a motivated, fit-for-purpose, enabled workforce. WHO Europe has moved at pace to deliver this change agenda, and as we move forward into the next biennium, we will work continuously to enhance our organisation further. In this context, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Gunda Weiler to brief the committee further on our efforts to enhance country focus across the region. Gunda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Over the last year, we've worked hard to become more strategic and more effective in our country focus. And I would like to describe that along 5 points briefly. First, regular contact with the health leadership in countries is critical. The regional director has prioritized his daily direct interactions with ministers of health. And over the last year alone, he has met bilaterally with 18 heads of state or government and counting. But our regional director also makes it a point to personally interact with health workers and with patients whenever he's in the field. Our goal is to ensure that no country is overlooked or left aside, and the regional director will continue to prioritize these direct contacts. Supporting health leadership in countries is also at the core of the Pan-European Leadership Academy that we've just heard about from our regional director. Second, we've taken steps to extend the perspective of collaboration with countries from the traditional 2-year time horizon of a biennial collaborative agreement to the medium term in line with the EPW. We have crafted 5-year strategic outlooks for each country where we have a presence, and these are now the basis for our planning for the next biennium. We are keen to explore how these can also translate into more medium-term agreements with our member states. Third, over the last year, we have invested heavily in increasing collaboration at the sub-regional level. Most notably, we facilitated the development of a sub-regional roadmap for health and well-being in the Western Balkans, which we see as a key instrument to increase investment in health, to focus technical collaboration on high-impact initiatives, and to ultimately close the gap with the EU. We've also developed a designated unit to support implementation of EU collaborative agreements with the Eastern Neighborhood countries and Central Asia. And we've instituted regular calls at the ministerial level with various subgroupings in the region, including Central Asia and the Russian Federation, the Baltics, and countries of the Visegrad Group. Going forward, we propose to further expand the sub-regional approach, in particularly by localizing the EPW in form of sub-regional roadmaps, for example, for Central Asia. On the more internal side, we've made substantial efforts to strengthen the capacity of our representatives and head of offices. We really want to empower WRs as an integral part of our senior leadership team, alongside the regional director and the executive council. And we are now further widening this circle to also actively include our regional advisors. And for the first time in October, we will organize a full physical meeting of that group. Going forward, we are designing a special WR learning strategy, and we will identify potential future WRs and nurture them in a talent pool. Finally, and most significantly, over the last months, we've worked intensively with the SCRC subgroup chaired by Tom Hours and with our member states to review our overall approach to working and being present in countries, and that is something we will be able to discuss in the second part of this session. Now with this, I will pass the floor to Rob, who will brief you on communications, partnerships, and resource mobilization. Rob, over to you.
Thanks very much, Gundo. I think much of this has already been said in the RD's response to the last session, but I'm just going to point and reiterate a few points. This administration adopted a regional office with a significant financial shortfall, as we've just heard, dependent on bailouts and continuing with a very heavy reliance on voluntary contributions. So it's fair to say that as we came in 2020, our resource mobilization work and capabilities and ability needed to be ramped up significantly. Alongside this, we needed to ramp up and improve and strengthen our relationships, our partnerships and alliances, and align them with the EPW for delivery, particularly in the eastern part of the region. And it's with great pride that I look back on the 18 months for the Resource Mobilization Alliances team in the Regional Directors Division and applaud them for doing so. Establishment of a thematic flexible financing project office has been one of the notable improvements, but also strengthening coordination with the other United Nations agencies. And as we heard from UNDCO, from UNFPA and UNICEF yesterday and the day before, their comments were really a testament to this. So as we're looking forward, we need to continue scaling up country office capacity and resource mobilization, as I mentioned earlier, strengthen our relationship with non-state actors, and a lot of good things in the pipeline in this regard for the coming biennium, and really look at how we generate and network and improve the visibility of our WHO collaborating centers, particularly because this is an incredibly rich environment where we don't feel we're getting maximum mileage from at this point. So we really want to do a mapping exercise around the collaborating centers and engage them more closely in the future. I'd also like to thank the communications team in-house who've done an outstanding job of reinvigorating our communications capacity. You, as member states, will appreciate that you've been tasked to communicate at a time of uncertainty, to tackle mis- and disinformation, and to work with new emerging technologies and virtual platforms. And alongside you, we've had to do the same. We've really enhanced and transformed our corporate, crisis, and risk communications capacity in-house to support you, the member states, to share evidence-based public health information and promote the work of health authorities. And in turn, of course, this goes building trust and, of course, then to responding to the needs of every citizen, to all of your constituents. Looking back, we've seen a 250% increase in our website traffic. I think that's an indication that the countries and the population in the European region are eager and have appetite for reliable, robust information from WHO and the health authorities we serve. But we've also been accompanied by really first-class spokespeople here in the team, here in at the regional office, and a regional director that rarely says no. He rarely shies away from the media, and I'm very happy to say that he has a strong understanding of the importance of having strong media relations. And this has really paid dividend with our leadership and authority over the past 18 months. So a user-focused WHO Europe website is due for launch in January. You can look forward to that, here depicted on the smartphone on the right. We also have a new multimedia studio, and we've also really strengthened our support to the country offices. And my thanks particularly to the UN volunteers, the UNVs, who are here depicted in the right-hand side of this slide, at the top right-hand corner of this slide. A warm thank you to them for serving us in 7 member states across the region and really supporting and strengthening our communications work at a country level. The work of our governing bodies is ongoing. As you'll have seen, the SCRC working groups and the establishment and the success of those working groups is really a testament to this. And of course, we continuously improve the transparency, the predictability of our elections and nominations process, as has been identified earlier today. So I'll leave it with that, and I will pass the floor to our Director for Business Operations, Mr. David Allen.
Thank you, Rob. And I will continue in our unpacking of a lot of the phrases you've heard this past week. So first of all, on what we've been calling the digitization of business processes, this has actually been quite an in-depth process and commitment from Hans, where the technical and operational colleagues came together to look at those business processes that were critical to our work, specifically our impacted country offices, in order to streamline and automate. On the screen, I've shown a slide of our new platform that we introduced this past year, and specifically of one workflow that is for position action. This is a difficult process that I have found in several regions has been one of the most difficult to manage due to the many and numerous steps and clearances. In effect, this one workflow captures 6 different types of processes that used to require memos and paper forms. The discussions that were held around streamlining and automating have allowed considerable speed, efficiency, as well as transparency for the requesting units, and is now supplying us data for continued improvement. Our aim for the coming year is to complete automation of all the priority processes that are not covered currently or that won't be also covered by new corporate systems, and to use the experience to further streamline. As Hans says, Kaizen. So ensuring a healthy, respectful, and motivational workplace for all staff across the region with zero tolerance and harassment is a key priority. But how are we doing it? Yeah. As Hans mentioned, we continue to focus on emotional intelligence, psychological safety, and open two-way communications towards a value-based culture of collaboration and innovation. Specifically, Euro intends to be out front in WHO as the region in efforts for the prevention response to sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment. And he's invited the HQ colleagues spearheading this critical area to visit the regional office soon to align the regional and corporate efforts in this regard towards a work plan that will be shared. We've also started training and incorporating into the staff responsibilities elements of the new policy on prevention and addressing the abusive conduct that was adopted by WHO in March 2021. And this goes hand in hand with our regional ombudsman's consistent and valiant efforts towards preventative actions, which he's doing through discourses among Euro teams, which he's been organizing across the region. He's now also rolling out a conflict coaching program. Our aim for this coming biennium is for all Euro staff to be empowered and responsible to contribute collectively towards a respectful workplace environment. The RD remains committed, Hans remains committed to the inclusive and collaborative mechanisms established during this past year towards staff health and well-being, including building a strong sense of community-based inclusion and respect, achieving work-life balance, and better workload planning and management. To give you a concrete example, we introduced an interim teleworking policy this year for the return to more regular work in the offices. The flexibility we incorporated this policy is unprecedented in WHO. It displays the commitment of Euro, of Hans, to manage a modern workflow in these rapidly changing times. In addition, we have a new learning strategy coming out, which is aimed at investing in all our staff. Specifically, it includes a new onboarding program, targeted programs for our national professional officers and general services staff, and a leadership and management training for all supervisors. I would mention that the executive leadership here, we are all currently enrolled in an executive management course that includes a 360 assessment. So we're assessed by our peers, our supervisees, and by our supervisors. So with the heightened relevance and interest in our work and the corresponding influx of funding across the region that we were briefed on in the last session, our workforce and programs grew in unanticipated directions and magnitude. As reported in various RC documents, we have managed and implemented the resources entrusted to us well this biennium. I would mention that this is also from an audit perspective, where findings continue to be positive, with constructive and achievable remedial actions proposed and under implementation, if not already closed. During this biennium, as Hans has very well and Rob very well captured in the previous session, our heavy reliance on specified voluntary contributions was mitigated by sizable contributions of thematic funds. This allowed us the required flexibility to meet all of our obligations this biennium. It is critical that the relative share of flexible contributions continues to increase to allow us to advance the EPW while remaining financially viable. We recognize that member states may be facing financing challenges domestically in the coming years, and we commit to improving efficiency and productivity in the same manner as you will be requested in your ministries. Our aim is for Euro to present the best value for money for all stakeholders. You can be reassured of our commitment to continue to seek innovative approaches for resolution of wicked problems, informed by balanced risk appetite. And this is very much as the IEAOC recognized interactions with Hans when they reviewed Euro in 2020. Thank you, Madam President. I pass the floor back to you.
Thank you all for this very clear and comprehensive overview. And I now will open the floor for comments and reflections and remind you that we have here two different discussions. First, I would like you to focus on the fit for purpose discussion, and then we will have some presentations about the country presence and take discussion after that, and our regional director will then do his comments after these two discussions. And we continue until 1 o'clock, and we try to finish this session until that. And I have here a pre-established list from member states. Let me see that I have a right list here. I have here Turkey first on my list, followed by Israel and Ukraine. So Turkey, you have the floor.
Madam President, thank you, but we will make intervention not on the first segment, but the second segment.
Okay, then we jump over that and take Israel, followed by Ukraine and Bulgaria.
Well, Israel is the same. We would the second issue.
Good. Then we take you on that list. What about Ukraine? You would like to comment here? Ukraine, do we have you online? No, it seems that we don't have connect to them. Then Bulgaria, are you there? You are on my list next, followed by Serbia on behalf of Southeastern Europe Health Network. So Bulgaria, the floor is yours.
Honorable Chair, Director General, Regional Director, distinguished delegates. Bulgaria takes note of the WHO Europe report delivering a fit-for-purpose WHO Europe for country impact and agrees to its conclusion to continuously seek to enhance the effectiveness of its culture, structures and processes through an organizational development approach underpinned by effective governance, accountability and compliance mechanisms. Bulgaria welcomes WHO Europe's ambition to enhance country focus across the European region and its commitment to increase country impact at the core of the European Programme of Work 2025. Our country actively participates to identify challenges and outline specific activities in order to achieve tangible results and measurable impact in the Member States' cooperation with WHO. Comprehensive feedback has been provided on WHO's work on both global and regional level, which we expect to be taken into account when formulating the policies for changing the working methods. The value We value the partnership with WHO, especially when it results in the provision of pragmatic and flexible support to our country, relevant to our specific needs with clear added value. We would like to point out some areas that need to be further elaborated and developed in our mutual collaboration, in view of the alignment across the three levels of the organization. While there is a quite strong and fluent communication at national and regional level, communication with WHO top level needs to be streamlined, resulting in faster response and action, especially in times of pandemic. We also expect to see specific measures and action by WHO in respect to alleviating the burden of reporting and gathering information from member states, which is even more challenging under pandemic circumstances when the health systems are operating in yet greater constraints of human resources. As regards learning between countries, we suggest that countries can benefit from a network that allows direct communication and exchange of ideas and experience on similar issues and challenges. For example, platform for the national counterparts. Finally, I would like once again to extend our government gratitude to the WHO Regional Office for Europe for its continuous guidance, expert and technical support provided during these challenging pandemic times. Thank you.
Thank you, Bulgaria. And then Serbia on behalf of Southeastern Europe Health Network. Serbia, the floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, Director General, Regional Director, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor to address you on behalf of the Member States of the Southeastern Europe Health Network who have associated themselves with this statement, namely Albania, Bulgaria, Bosnia and Herzegovina, the State of Israel, Republic of Moldova, Montenegro, the Republic of North Macedonia, Romania and the Republic of Serbia. The pandemic hit hard the middle-income countries with a particular disastrous toll, with an associated burden of health and financial consequences. Moreover, the reality urges for reconfiguration, adjustment, and adoption of our health systems to build up resilience and the responsiveness towards the needs of our people. It is of utmost importance to act today for a sustainable future and enhance preparedness for various emergencies at regional and sub-regional levels. Just recently, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of the network and we honored the achievements, but fully aware the challenges that lie ahead. The network welcomes the strategic guidance and technical advice from the WHO Europe. We particularly value the wide coordination process and inclusiveness while designing the roadmap for health in the Western Balkans by establishing the priority areas and initiatives for closing the health gap of the Western Balkans with EU. These strategic documents will serve as important instrument for policy coherence for health and the pathway for investments in the Western Balkans health. The roadmap will for sure guide the development of the next network, pledged to the benefit of all our member states that we plan to endorse in our ministerial forum in 2022. Thus, we will continue contributing to the implementing the European Programme of Work 2020 to 2025, United Actions for Better Health in Europe, and its flagship. I would like to express on behalf of the member states of the network our commitment to further enhance more specifically the immunization agenda and provide better mental health care services. The other core priorities of achieving universal health coverage, health emergencies, preparedness and control, revamping the primary health care digital agenda shall also benefit from enhanced political and investment commitments of our member states, as well as from the WHO Europe technical support in all our member states. Recently, Southeastern Europe Health Network has put an emphasis on the non-communicable diseases through fostering capacities for implementing colorectal cancer screening programs, reducing childhood malnutrition and obesity, enabling healthy lifestyles choice from the early age, improving health literacy, reducing health impacts of polluted air, to name a few. The pandemic reoriented our efforts towards multi-sectoral response in SEE countries and more recently to the approaches on stress and burnout among healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Amid current efforts to improve health emergencies preparedness, the network is also focusing on gathering data on the current mental health status and to channel targeted efforts towards the most in need population. Ladies and gentlemen, the member states of the network are determined to implement an ambitious strategic agenda and highly value WHO regional offices for Europe support to this end. We express deep gratitude to Dr. Hans Kluge, the WHO regional director, for his continuous long-standing leadership, commitment and hard work for health and well-being in the Southeastern Europe. We will continue to build our cooperation and focus to the new challenges. Both the European program work and the roadmap for health in Western Balkans present the key determinators of our direction of travel. The network offers an excellent platform for joining our forces in the network with all partners to maintain health high on our political agenda, invest more and target the investments right for better impact. Therefore, we urge the WHO Regional Office and other partners to join efforts and support Southeast European Health Network for further results and sustainable health gains. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Serbia. I now would like to call again Ukraine. Are you there and are you willing to deliver your intervention? If not, I would like to thank you, dear delegates, for your reflections and comments. And I understand that Dr. Kluge will take the floor to respond at the end of the session. We'll do that. In the second segment of this item, we will have a closer look at the status and findings to date at the country presence and work in countries review that is being conducted by the regional office. We will also hear more of any plans for the 2021-2022 period in view of delivering a strategic paper on WHO's Europe's presence and work in countries for RC72. First, can I please invite the delegate of Belgium as chair of the subgroup of the Standing Committee on WHO Europe's work at country level to report on the discussions held in that subgroup. Belgium, you have the floor, please.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Mr. Regional Director, Excellencies, dear colleagues. I speak today on behalf of Belgium as the chairing country of the SCRC subgroup on WHO's work at country level. The effective chair of this group, Mr. Tom Hours, apologized. He is unfortunately not able to attend due to a health issue. As his alternate, I have the pleasure to take over and to open the floor to express the support of Belgium for the strong focus that the EPW puts on country impact. Delivering a fit-for-purpose organization is a critical ambition of WHO Europe, with potential benefits for all European countries. And this is why Belgium agreed 1 year ago to take over the chairmanship of this subgroup from Poland. And we would like to thank Poland for laying the foundation during the first year. The subgroup on WHO's work at country level gathers 9 SCRC countries, namely Armenia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Czechia, Kazakhstan, Moldova, Poland, and with the participation of Switzerland. And I want to take this opportunity to thank all of them for their engagement. The subgroup met 7 times this year and is guiding WHO in its country presence review process with a high level of co-ownership. The key question that this process is trying to answer is, how can WHO enhance its work in, for, and with countries to increase its relevance and maximize its impact in every country? During the last months, several consultations have been organized with WHO staff, with member states, with or without country office, and with stakeholders. We thank all participants for their valuable inputs, including some constructive but critical comments. And we call again on all countries to engage in the next steps of this process. Dear colleagues, the COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated that we as member states all need WHO to strengthen the pandemic preparedness and the health systems in our countries. WHO should be ready to respond to a considerable increase of requests for country support in the upcoming years due to the consequences of COVID, which makes this review most timely. Moreover, this means that we also should dare to discuss how to make the best use of the WHO limited resources the most efficient way possible. We should dare to think outside of the box on new ways of working and on innovative models of country presence. I will stop here in my observation as Dr. Gundo Weiler from the regional office will speak more about the result from this consultation in a few minutes. Dear colleagues, I spoke about innovative model of country support, and I wanted to testify to you that we in Belgium have a very positive experience on collaboration with WHO Euro. Already in 2016, we agreed on a country cooperation strategy, CCS, with WHO. And this year, we have reviewed and extended this CCS to 2024 to focus on a clear set of key priorities that will benefit both Belgium and the regional and global health agenda. Dear colleagues, for the next steps, our SCRC subgroup has recommended to continue the country presence review process in the same participative spirit, seeking opportunities for all member states and key stakeholders to contribute. We also encourage WHO to start testing and implementing new ways of working with countries in the coming period. The subgroup recommends that WHO present a strategic paper to the next RC that will clearly outline how WHO can support countries with or without physical presence, including a spectrum of modalities of support WHO Euro can offer, but also factor and process that will help determine a tailored collaborative approach for each country. Before concluding, we would like to explicitly thank Dr. Gundo Weiler and his colleague and all the members of the core team who are the real doers of this process. We thank them for their dedication and for such an excellent collaboration over the past year. We are very much looking forward to complete this process with you and succeed in delivering a fit-for-purpose organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Belgium. Now I will invite Dr. Weiler to give us a short overview of the country presence and work in countries review done so far. Please.
Yes, thank you, Ambassador. With your permission, I will take a few minutes to touch on the approach that we have taken in the review, the learnings and themes that have emerged so far, and how we would like to take forward this work in the next year. We do see this review as an opportunity to walk the talk on our WHO values of collaboration and learning organization. As our subgroup chair has said, member states are indeed in the driving seat for this process, from identifying the right questions to proposing consultations to helping us interpret the findings. Likewise, we've also ensured that throughout the process, WHO colleagues from all 3 levels of the organization and some of our key partner organizations are centrally involved. We designed the process in an iterative manner, creating feedback loops between generating ideas at different fora and at different levels. In practice, that means that so far in 2021, we have conducted more than 20 consultations, providing an opportunity for all 53 member states to contribute, involving more than 100 WHO colleagues directly, 12 partner organizations, and having in-depth consultations in 3 countries, namely Estonia, Romania, and Turkey. We realized that was a lot to ask at a time where member states and our own colleagues are very busy with the COVID response, and we are indeed very grateful for the commitment and engagement of member states, our colleagues, and our partners. In the many consultations, we have heard clearly that expectations by member states are changing. The roles of WHO Europe are evolving, and with this are the way in which WHO should work with and in countries. In particular, COVID-19 has brought to the fore that all member states have important lessons to share, and they seek to learn from others. In a pan-European context, WHO Europe is looked at as the organization that can facilitate this horizontal exchange of experience. COVID-19 has also amplified the attention that is being paid to health as an issue across all sectors and levels of government, including at the highest levels. There's never been more demand and more opportunity for placing health high on the agenda of governments and societies, and ministries of health expect WHO Europe to support them in leading for health, in particular in shaping policies and public health measures where evidence is emerging or sometimes ambiguous. Leadership for health also goes hand in hand with communication, and many pointed to the important role that WHO Europe has in working alongside ministries of health, in communicating with the public, fighting misinformation and building trust. This was one of the most prominent areas which member states expect enhanced support by WHO. Over the last year and a half, we have all experimented with new ways of working, and many of these have rendered us as an organization more agile and enabled us to react faster and also to reach a wider range of partners and key stakeholders. You encouraged us to make best use of these innovations and in particular create more opportunities for rapid exchange of experiences, learnings, and support between countries facing similar challenges. Member states emphasize that WHO Europe as a regional pan-European body is uniquely placed to do so and should do so in clear complementarity to the other institutions and networks in the region, including those of the European Union. Overall, countries welcome WHO Europe's determination to orient resources, strategy, and organizational culture towards countries. While agility and our ability to react fast to emerging challenges is seen as key, countries also value predictability. Many would like to see more emphasis for WHO Europe to discuss and articulate its longer-term engagement with a given country, in line with the EPW, and going beyond the 2-year time horizon of the biennial collaborative agreement. The combination of responding quickly to the unplanned and continued collaboration on the identified issues should also inform WHO Europe's mix of skills and presence in countries. So these were some of the key themes from the consultation process to date, and many of them will need more elaboration in the next iteration of the review. But our regional director was also very clear in urging us not to lose any time and to ensure that the main lessons will immediately inform our planning for the next biennium. So as we speak, our WHO representatives and technical program leads are building these themes into the proposed program of work for the next biennium. And likewise, we are also undertaking a review of our capabilities in all country offices as part of the operational planning to ensure that we are well set up to respond to the changing expectations that I've just mentioned. Now, having said that, we do realize that a lot of work remains to be done, again guided by the SCRC subgroup As mentioned by the chair, the subgroup recommends to continue the review and bring it to a conclusion in 22 with a clear target of developing a strategic paper on our presence in countries that can then guide us to fully focus our attention, processes and resources on impact for countries and hence fulfill a central promise of the EPW. Already the SCRC subgroup has met to reflect on which elements such a strategy should cover, and we are very much looking forward to your additional guidance and comments here today in this session. Thank you very much, and back over to you.
Thank you, Gundo. As I open the floor now for comments for member states, with your permission, I will first give the floor to other members of the SCRC subgroup on WHO Europe's work at country level and to countries with in-country consultations who have expressed their interest to add their comments, followed by other member states who have signaled their wish to take the floor. I kindly would like to remind you about the time limits, 3 minutes time limits. This item is important and we continue, and as we heard, Secretariat would like to have an interaction with countries and this will be a continuing process. But of course, it's good to have also your comments during this session. We probably not are able to have all the interventions before the lunch, but let's see how far we go and let's look then near the lunchtime that what would be the plan then, how we use the afternoon. But now first I would like to give the floor to Turkey, followed by Israel and Czechia. So Turkey, now it's your turn.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank the Secretariat for the overview report of the work on country presence. It captures the essence of what we discussed in the regional consultation and in-depth consultation in our country. From past to present, WHO has been a very important cooperation partner of Turkey in the field of health, and we have no doubt that it will continue to be. The presence of WHO in Turkey is, of course, one of the most important factors in these relations. Turkey is among WHO presence at the country level. In addition to hosting Europe's largest country office, it also hosts a GDO in Istanbul and a field office in Gaziantep to meet cross-border healthcare needs. All these puts Turkey to a unique position in the European region. The direction of the work we have carried out successfully until today has changed with the Syrian crisis and the mass influx of irregular migrants to Turkey. Yet our cooperation thrived on this challenging situation with new and different approach towards them and resulted in studies and achievements that set an example not only for the countries in the region, but also for the world. In fact, this situation sets a great example in terms of WHO's country impact. These also demonstrate the importance of rapidly providing technical support for country-specific and changing needs. Turkey has always been an advocate for a stronger and more active WHO on the field. The response to COVID-19 and the construction of the post-pandemic era necessitate the development of working models that are new, agile, and responsive. The process we are in has shown that country-specific, micro-level, and goal-oriented studies yield better results than the implementation of macro policies. We believe that a new working strategy should be developed in line with these consultations and lessons learned in order to best provide country support, which is the backbone of the European Programme of Work. Therefore, we find this work invaluable, and we started to work a few weeks ago as one of the countries with which in-depth consultations are made. Consultations was very interactive and resulted in good outputs. We provided our feedbacks and looking forward to seeing the results in the next RC. Thank you.
Thank you, Turkey. And Next, I give the floor to Israel, followed by Czechia and Bulgaria. Israel, please. We can't hear you, Israel. If you are not connected now, so we'll go to Czechia and take Israel's comments then later. So Czechia, the floor is yours, followed by Bulgaria and Estonia.
Director General, Regional Director, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for including this important topic to the program of the Regional Committee. The Czech Republic is very active in this strategic agenda since the Czech representative to the SCRC is also a member of the subgroup of WHO Europe's work at country level. During the whole process, we very much welcome the direct involvement of countries, which enables us to share best practices, close the existing gaps, and build a truly functional and robust model of country presence. I would like to thank the Regional Director and his team for the development of the European Programme of Work 2020 till 2025 that proved to be a visionary framework from the very beginning. Besides the establishment of flagship initiatives that are relevant in the COVID and post-COVID period, it really tries to put countries to the center. It is important to pay attention to the perception of the WHO in countries, to work carefully with information from countries, evaluate it and consider some improvements since the normative role of the WHO is irreplaceable. Furthermore, it would be beneficial to reach synergies among activities of various international organizations. The expertise can and should be shared among various actors to avoid duplicity and inefficiencies. To conclude, let me stress that the Czech Republic strongly supports the regional office in this effort and is ready for even deeper and more frequent cooperation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Czechia. Now Bulgaria, followed by Estonia and Turkey. No, Turkey we had already. So Bulgaria, after Bulgaria, there will be then Estonia and Switzerland. So Bulgaria, you have the floor.
Madam Executive President, Honorable Regional Director Dr. Kluge, distinguished delegates. As a standing committee member actively involved in the subgroup, Bulgaria appreciates the impressive work done as regards the country presence review initiated by the standing committee subgroup and lately reinforced by a core team and WHO and external focus groups. We commend the initiative to revise WHO's work with the countries as most necessary and much awaited by the member states in the region. During the past months, in different formats of online meetings and retreats, a vast pool of ideas was accumulated. Several general trends were identified as regards WHO expected roles and functions. While a huge amount of work with inclusive participation was done generating the what's, there are still challenges ahead of us, that is, to formulate the hows, or the approaches and actions to take in order to turn our findings and ideas into practice. The strategic document that we are expected to develop for 72nd Regional Committee needs to transfer the political aspect and philosophy of the country presence review process into practicalities, underpinned with the necessary resources. Whether a framework or a roadmap, it should provide guidance to the member states and WHO Europe in their future collaboration, focused on the country needs, producing tangible results. Mindful of the country specifics of the 53 member states in the region, we have to strike a balance of this document so that every country finds suitable patterns for its situation. It is therefore crucial in the following months to focus our endeavors on the objectives, outcomes, and outputs in order to start visualizing and operationalizing the ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Bulgaria. And now I see that Israel is connected, so I will give the floor next to Israel, followed by Estonia and Switzerland. So Israel, floor is yours. Can't hear you. Do you have microphone on?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me now? Great.
Very clearly. Go on.
Honorable Chair, Regional Director and colleagues, the State of Israel has always been proud to serve as a leader in fields such as digital health, emergency medicine, nutrition, and our work with WHO to share best practice has been the utmost important for us. But we also understand that there are many things that we need to learn from our regional partners. For instance, organ donation systems, primary healthcare planning, healthcare financing, and many, many other fields and expertise that regional states could share with us and teach us. We are in many ways blessed to be part of the WHO European region, where every single country has something they excel in and can teach others. It is due to this unique opportunity that we believe the WHO European region can lead an improvement in healthcare globally by sharing experience at most both development and less developed health system, and invest time and knowledge to ensure improvement of global health systems. The WHO European region should strive to provide a platform to disseminate knowledge and best practice from working groups led by countries with specific expertise. A fit-for-purpose WHO Europe is one of the tasks that knowledge of the region and transform it to the best practice to improve digitally fluent, people-centered healthcare system globally. That is, in our eyes, one of the most and the main roles in the future for WHO in general. Israel is happy to support a new country office in Tel Aviv, which may serve as a new model for country offices pursuing innovation and supporting fields of excellence in the benefit of all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Israel. Next on my list is Estonia, followed by Switzerland and Romania. So, Estonia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Honorable Regional Director, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity to present Estonia's views and experiences. We commend the regional office for the commitment to achieve impact at the country level and welcome the country presence review process. We also thank Belgium for leading this work in the standing committee. In Estonia, we have a very positive experience with the review process. In August, we had the opportunity to discuss collaboration with WHO at a meeting with participants from across the government, representing different ministries and public institutions, as well as from academic institutes, professional bodies, and non-governmental organizations. One of the positive outcomes of the consultation was that it contributed to better awareness about WHO's activities in general and at the country level. It was suggested that similar stock-taking events could be introduced on a regular basis annually, giving an opportunity to discuss expectations, priorities, and ways of collaboration. Bringing together different government agencies, it also was an opportunity to share information and views across different sectors. The importance of WHO's role as a convener was one of the main conclusions coming out of the consultation. As was put by one of the participants, WHO has a reputation that is considered as a label of trust, and WHO can use this power to convene parties across different sectors. As is also mentioned in the background paper to the regional committee, public communication and health advocacy role of WHO is increasing in the age of infodemics. Issues related to misinformation and maintaining public trust are gaining importance. While WHO technical expertise and normative work is still very much valued in health policy development and implementation, broader outreach is expected next to these more traditional roles. The need for easy access to the latest and emerging international evidence on key issues and challenges was also emphasized. While digital platforms and stronger national and sub-regional networks based on common needs can aid rapid sharing and learning. When it comes to the tailored technical assistance, the presence of WHO country office is seen as an asset that is essential in establishing strong relationships and the appreciation of context. And to conclude, we agree with the main conclusions of the paper, which have been also confirmed by our national consultation, and we believe that this is a good basis for further work. Thank you.
Thank you, Estonia. I will continue until 1:15, so 13:15, so that we could get your interventions. And we will then continue after having 45 minutes lunch, but for your information that this is the plan now. Next on my list is Switzerland, followed by Romania, and then Montenegro. And I still have Germany and Azerbaijan after that, so let's see if we can then have most of these before the lunch break. So, Switzerland, floor is yours.
Madame la Présidente,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
délégués, la Suisse remercie
Regional Director, delegates, we thank the Secretariat for this report
CPC
and for managing this group. The corona crisis has shown us the exemplary work of the WHO. It is thus important, as has been already underlined, that the WHO has the necessary resources to fulfill its role. The regional group can be an important support for all countries, whether they have a regional office or not. For countries with comparable situations, information from the regional office can be transmitted and adapted to the national context. Sharing experience on COVID-19 is precious for our experts, for example, within the context of measures taken in schools, or indeed when it comes to long COVID. This experience is a great foundation which the WHO can use and provide added value in future. We must promote intensified exchange between member states of the region. The national focal points and collaborators are a great advantage to us in times of crisis. Switzerland was the first member state without a national office with whom the WHO signed a national strategy. That's why we are fully committed to this process while taking into account the lessons learned from the crisis. We thus support this work within the SCRC in order to achieve a tangible result in 2022. It's important that the work on a regional level continues to be closely coordinated with global thoughts on the matter. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Then Romania, followed by Montenegro.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Romania welcomes the regional office determination to launch the country presence review, as it clearly demonstrates that member states' needs are at the heart of the work of the WHO Euro. It also underlines a visionary leadership to put an end to this pandemic and to build resilient systems by strengthening the organization and its country work. I thank Regional Director Dr. Kluge and the Regional Office team for their resolution and sustained efforts to carry out this inclusive and meaningful process of consultation and evaluation, and for setting out a necessary course of action. We are honored to note that Romania was entrusted to be among the first countries to contribute directly to building a better fit-for-purpose and more efficient organization to address an increasingly challenging environment. The bilateral partnership with the regional office is embraced at the highest possible level in Romania. This special partnership has been reaffirmed during regional director visit in April. I had the pleasure to hear directly from Dr. Kluge about his plans to improve WHO activities to deliver enhanced country impact. We are in full agreement. A strong WHO regional office means strong member states and health systems. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the examination of the role and remit of the WHO regional office and country presence becomes increasingly important. We need to work in the combined efforts to ensure the rebuild of trust, a key element for any future endeavor that will give the organization the means necessary to achieve its goals. For the presidential administration, the close cooperation with WHO country office has always been a great asset, a partnership that grew even more in the light of the pandemic. WHO guidelines, operational guidance, technical assistance informed and supported countries' response activities and the overall management of the crisis. Our systems and societies must be well prepared to meet emerging challenges. But this requires time, coordination, and a sustained commitment at the highest level. To be able to turn this commitment a reality, adequate leadership is needed. Romania commended Dr. Kluge for his demonstrating leadership in the time of crisis already in 2020 at the Regional Committee, and honored Dr. Kluge's personal example this April by offering him one of the highest rankings of appreciation. For Romania, the role of the WHO Regional Office remains paramount, and the decision to move forward speaks eloquently about the unwavering focus of WHO to undergo a comprehensive reform. Thank you again for this invitation, and I wish all of you a successful journey and a meaningful outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Romania. And we have still 3 interventions here. The next speaker will come from Montenegro and followed by Germany and Azerbaijan. And then I don't have any other requests. If there are, so raise your hand on the Zoom platform. I plan then to have the comments from the Secretariat then after our lunch break, but let's take these interventions then before that. So, Montenegro, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Regional Director, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be with you and engage in the Regional Committee deliberation on delivering a fit-for-purpose WHO Europe for country impact. At the very beginning, let me commend the Regional Director, Dr. Hans Kluge, for demonstrating during all pandemic months that he has capacity to translate vision captured in the IPW into reality. Also, I would like to congratulate the Regional Director for the impressive, moving opening remarks in a style of a leader. We need to rise to the complex challenges of 21st century, highlighting that while there are still gaps to close, much of the progress has been achieved and the reason for optimism. Montenegro is fully committed to delivering on the commitments captured in the IPW which sets the unique level of aspiration in terms of putting the member states' needs at the very heart of the WEU focus and work. In this regard, we are confident that the progress achieved in the past year and the impact we are striving for it in the future would not be possible without placing countries at the center and without concerted efforts invested to make WHO more fit for purpose. Work for countries and with countries has no alternative and is a way to leave no one behind and to rise to the challenge of what citizens expect us all together to do. Montenegro, as a small country and a young democracy, fully appreciates continuous support from the regional director and high-quality technical assistance provided to the country through all three levels of organization, tailored thanks to a full engagement and commitment of national small but very productive WH country office, demonstrating that when resources are invested and used wisely, when we know the goal, less really means more. The global crisis, health and economic, caused by a pandemic has affected citizens and governments' perspectives and expectations on health authorities and WHO. Additionally, the health and policy priorities that require rethinking by the member states and that are set out in the IPW are complex undertakings which imply broad partnership and collaborations across sectors and beyond boundaries and engagement of a range of stakeholders and consideration of various perspectives. Operating effectively within this complex environment takes a strategic approach that is united and agile. In this context, it becomes even more important to remember one size does not fit all. In other words, it is indispensable to innovate, invest, and include. This is something we all need to bear in mind during our well-structured dialogues aimed at creating a strategic view on how to enhance WHO Europe works and performance for all member states to leave no one behind. In Montenegro, as a small country with limited labor market, need to introduce a professional administration and many challenges in terms of absorption capacities, we find as exceptionally valuable WHO assistance in developing evidence-based policy options for health and development, national health strategies and norms in support of program implementation and capacity building. The pandemic reminded us that the greatest threats to our survival come from the interface between the humans, animals, and environment. Montenegro remains fully supportive of the One Health approach, promoting collaboration across disciplines and geographically borders as a road to managing global health issues such as climate changes, environment, and inequities. We are pleased to see that under the visionary leadership of Director Kluge and immense dedication of his team, WHO is becoming a powerful player and partner reaching across sectors and promoting cross-sectoral whole of society and whole of government approach. I will finish with a Montenegrin saying that only a great leader attracts great people and knows how to hold them together in success. Director Kluge, you are our leader and you have our full support to contribute together in making our societies healthier and safer. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Montenegro. And then we have Germany and Azerbaijan here, and I will give the floor to Germany, followed by Azerbaijan then. Germany, the floor is yours.
Sehr geehrte Frau Vorsitzende, sehr geehrter Herr Regionaldirektor, sehr geehrte Kolleginnen und Kollegen. Wir danken dem Sekretariat für den Bericht zu diesem wichtigen Thema. Die Covid-19-Pandemie hat die Bedeutung der Arbeit der WHO global, aber auch regional natürlich noch einmal nachhaltig deutlich gemacht. Sie hat uns, der WHO und den Mitgliedstaaten, aber auch unsere Schwächen aufgezeigt. Insofern ist der aktuelle Prozess der WHO-Euro zur Stärkung der Präsenz in den Ländern und der Arbeit mit den Ländern, um dort mehr Durchschlagskraft zu entwickeln, aus unserer Sicht der richtige Weg. Die bisher durchgeführten Maßnahmen wie die strukturelle Anpassung des Regionalbüros und die mit den Mitgliedstaaten durchgeführten Dialogveranstaltungen halten wir für sehr zielführend. Die WHO-Euro muss und will ja maßgeschneiderte, mit den Ländern abgestimmte Lösungen erarbeiten, die auf die konkreten Länderbedarfe eingehen. Diese müssen die Länder dabei unterstützen, ihre Gesundheitssysteme zu stärken
These must support countries to strengthen and further develop their healthcare systems. Countries with the largest needs must be a priority. It is important that people can tangibly see the positive impact of the WHO's work, and thus the regional offices will be able to become more relevant when it comes to political decision-making. With the support of member states in this process, strategic cornerstones will be set in order to increase the importance of the WHO's work in the countries in the European region. The four main topics, such as the expectations of member states for WHO regional offices in Europe, are important. In the coming months and in 2022, an important topic will be implementing the lessons learned from COVID-19. In any case, we believe that there is a positive development in the work of the regional offices, and we will further support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Next, Azerbaijan, please. We don't hear you.
Dear Chair, dear Regional Director, distinguished delegates, as we all know, the pandemic has created for all countries the necessity of more robust multi-sectoral and international cooperation, and expect more change from the WHO in this regard. During the course of our fight, WHO country and regional offices are becoming more closer and more flexible to implement public health anti-epidemic measures. Also, we value global response and partnership during the pandemic. We witnessed that sustainable technical support, policy recommendations, and use of WHO positive expertise at country and regional levels resulted better achievements in current health situation overall. Country offices became a coordinating partners in exchange of proactive and integrated public health expertise with other international organizations. We support ongoing WHO reforms on transformation initiative, and indeed, regional directors' leadership and tireless efforts on support collaboration among member states, even in a more effective level. We believe that strong WHO presence in the countries will contribute strengthening sustainable health systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. I have no other delegates on my list, but I have one non-state actor here, so we still have time for that intervention. We have now here on the screen that Dr. Mariana Porrel Arrasa. I would like to give you the floor if you are there to make your intervention, and then we are ready to go to lunch. But first is intervention, please.
Yes. Honorable Chairperson, distinguished delegates, youth, as one of the biggest demographics on Earth, are undoubtedly an important agent of positive change in the world, as well as here in Europe. They are the backbone of the future and the new leaders of tomorrow. Through active participation, youth are empowered to play a vital role in their own development, as well as in that of their communities. They offer refreshing and innovative ideas, reflecting the needs and concerns of future generations. Throughout the years, they have been calling out for more civic, economic, political, and social involvement. The International Federation of Medical Student Associations appreciates the efforts of the member states that have already developed a youth delegate program. Youth delegates have been proven an inspiring parts of delegations at the 74th WHA, as well as at other WHO meetings. It not only helped to diversify delegations, it clearly helped in developing well-balanced positions inside the delegation. We therefore call on all member states to create and implement a structured system for the Youth Delegates program that includes and supports youth representatives being meaningfully involved in any governmental participation, including that in international meetings, missions, and consultations. We also call on WHO to support the process in implementing youth delegates, as it is also common in other governing bodies of the UN. Additionally, we would urge to have speakers of the youth included inside events of WHO meetings to establish a conversation and give other parties the chance to engage. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And I think that was quite a nice message for us and reminds us what our director said, regional director said in the beginning, that he would like to involve also and engage youth to this organization, because we are building your future also. So I think that this was a nice closing for these interventions. And I wish you all that you enjoy your lunch break. We will be back at 2 o'clock, and then we will get the comments and response from our secretariat. So enjoy. We suspend now this and have a lunch. Thank you. Welcome after lunch break, dear delegates and also other partners here to this afternoon session. We are heading to the closure of this session, but we still have some unfinished business from yesterday, but also from today. And we will continue now with the 2 items we had before lunch, and we heard then country comments and partners' interventions. And now I would like to give the floor to Dr. Hans Kluge, then to respond to what we just heard before the lunch. So, Dr. Kluge, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Executive President. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all those member states that have taken the floor to share your reflections on our fit-for-purpose agenda and the country presence review. I feel very humbled by your support for our efforts and inspired by your recognition of our huge ambition to enhance country focus and really have an impact across the region. Let me thank Serbia for its intervention on behalf of the Southeastern European Health Network. Very close to our heart. We are very committed. In my view, as I was telling already at my talk on Monday, sub-regional collaborations have a tremendous potential as a platform for translating the EPW into concrete actions by moving together rather than alone. Your support to the sub-regional roadmap for the Western Balkans was and will be instrumental. And I want to thank all the presidents, prime ministers, ministers of health of all the Balkan countries for taking time when I went around to meet me. I hope we can replicate this collaboration in other sub-regions. Last week, video conference with the Minister of Health of Uzbekistan, who committed to organize a first meeting for the Central Asian countries on the EPW. Then on the relevance of country presence review for the EPW. You will recall that during my campaign, I made it a point to visit every single of the 53 countries in the region. And 2 years after my election, I am more convinced than ever that WHO Europe should and can serve all the member states of our region in a similarly intensive way. And I want to thank Belgium, Germany and Switzerland for reminding us that as a pan-European organization, WHO Europe can play an important role in supporting policy making in all countries, not only those where we have country offices. As Israel said, every country has something they excel in and can teach others. I also want to thank you, Switzerland, for appreciating the exchange on COVID-19 and schools which was one of the examples involving many countries without a physical presence. But of course, I also hear clearly the appreciation of having strong country offices and the need to further strengthen them, as expressed by Turkey, Romania, Azerbaijan, and Montenegro. And thank you so much for the warm words, which is indeed, as Montenegro was telling, thanks to the people around me, all the staff. And thank you again, Mr. President of Romania, for the highest award of Commander. On the main themes emerging, I am very happy to hear that many of the themes emerging from the review resonate well with your perspective. Indeed, we see that your expectations of WHO are changing substantially. As expressed by Montenegro and Azerbaijan, health is now the whole of society issue, and we want to be a main partner for you in leading intersectoral collaboration. Thank you, Estonia, for reminding us of the importance of communication, and you rightly expect us to be by your side in fighting misinformation and strengthening trust, making good use of digital platforms. It's the heart of the EPW. I'm also aware it is not always about doing more, but also being more focused and respectful of your own capacity to interact with us, in particularly when it comes to requests for information and reporting, as voiced by Bulgaria. As I was telling yesterday, the EPW M&E framework is taking those many requests into account. I have noted the suggestions on concrete ways of how we can work with you, including the suggestion to strengthen collaboration with national counterparts by Bulgaria and Switzerland. There are many different ways in which we can work with you and be present in countries, and there is not one size fits all, and we are committed to determine the right mix for each member state, including for countries with limited national capacities. In fact, last week was another very good exercise when we had the honor to welcome the Minister of Health of Luxembourg to our office, who indeed expressed also great interest to work more closely on health workforce and digital capacities and finding a modus operandi which fits best Luxembourg. We are strongly committed to be innovative and sustain the best aspects of digital technologies, something I just discussed over lunch with Madam Executive President as well, Finland, being also an innovator over there, because it allows us to be more agile, rapid and inclusive. And I thank Turkey for your intervention and for helping us to develop new models of working. Thank you to Azerbaijan and Czechia for highlighting the need for robust, multi-sectoral and international cooperation, in which there is clear complementarity between different international organizations, fully leveraging our WHO collaborating centers, and of course, within the 3 levels of WHO, as pointed out by Bulgaria. This, in fact, will be a specific focus for the next phase of the review. Then, on the inclusive process and approach. Appreciation to Czechia, Bulgaria, Estonia and Romania for appreciating the inclusive approach we have taken. And I must give a lot of credit here indeed to Dr. Gundeweiler and his team, and all the colleagues involved like Gabriel, the organization development team, and of course, the country offices, because we made it a point to be as inclusive as possible while avoiding, of course, to be paralyzed by the process. Having member states at the center is the fundamental principle for all we do. And let me reiterate my appreciation to the SCRC subgroup under the chairmanship of the President of the Federal Public Health Service of Belgium, Mr. Tom Owers, and to you, Anne, and dear Anne, please convey our best wishes to Tom for a swift recovery. Your leadership of Belgium was really instrumental. And thank you to the other members, Armenia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Czechia, Kazakhstan, Poland, Moldavia, and Switzerland. Now on the next steps. I have heard clearly the call for taking the discussions to the next level, And I do understand there is support for us to deepen the discussion. But I also told the team time and again, let's not wait till the final step to start implementing. We have the ambition to bring a strategic paper to the next regional committee. And I need all your support, because I remember that this has been tried a number of times in the last 20 years. And that in the last 20 years, such a paper didn't go forward, because obviously this is very close to the national subsidiarity of the countries. So that's why we want to do it really inclusive, so you feel comfortable. But I would be a tremendously proud regional director if we could get such a strategic paper approved, because that would be the proof that the EPW is seen by you as really country focus. Conclusion. My dear friends, these are extraordinary times, which needs extraordinary decisions. As I said on Monday, my ambition for this organization, WHO Europe, is no less than to be responsive, agile, innovative, a trailblazer in the United Nations system. And I'm proud of what we have achieved in the past 12 months and believe that in the 12 months ahead, we can even surpass with your support those achievements. A special thank you to IMSA representative. The youth is very close to our heart, and we will build on this year's first youth forum of young people and young professionals next year. As Jim Collins said, good to great comes about step by step, action by action, decision by decision, turn by turn of the flywheel. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kluge and distinguished delegates, for this interesting discussion and comprehensive comments also from your regional director. As we are coming to the end of this session, I note that member states have emphasized the importance of the review of WHO Europe's work and presence in countries as a cornerstone of the EPW, and that member states welcome the inclusive approach taken, and that them's emerging to date resonate with their experience, and that they call for a continuation of the review in view of bringing to the next regional committee a strategic paper on WHO Europe's presence and work in countries guided by the SCRC subgroup. And I have heard your willingness to really do this continuous collaboration with these issues, under these issues, and willingness to collaborate with Secretariat, so that there will be continuous dialogue and discussion and based on that, then the actions at the country level, but also at the regional level, will be built. With this, I close agenda item 11.